Okay, this is going to be a really quick video on how to properly read your ruler. Okay, this is going to be helpful when you're measuring your artwork or your paper or doing your borders. So I'm going to be color coding everything so that we know what line means what amount. Okay, so the easiest one that probably most of us are familiar with is the inch mark. Okay. These are labeled with numbers all the way from 1 to 12, okay? I'm just going to show you the very front of the ruler just for this demonstration. One thing I do want to point out is that the ruler often does not start, or the inch does not start where the ruler starts. The inch always starts where the first long line is, okay? So each inch mark is going to be green. So I'm going to mark the inch, okay? And the colors help just because the inch marks are pretty easy to see, but once we get to the smaller marks, it's sometimes harder to tell. So the colors will help us decipher that, okay? So I've done my inch mark. That's pretty easy to tell, so we know that when we go to here, that's 1 inch. Jump to this one, 2 inches, 3 inches, 4 inches, okay? So that one you'll probably be using the most. The second one that we need to know is the 1/2 inch mark. So a 1/2 inch would occur in between each of the inch marks. So the next longest line is going to be 1/2 inch, okay? So that would be in between 1 inch, okay? So halfway between. The same thing in between here, okay? So we go from this first mark to here, and then from the 1/2 inch to the 1 to make our second 1/2 inch, because 2 halves make 1 whole, okay? It's basically just like fractions. So these are the 1/2 inch marks. That doesn't mean that we jump from blue to blue. It means we're jumping from green to blue, from blue to green, okay? So it's a 1/2 inch. If you really wanted to, you could put another little blue 1/2 inch mark here, but I think that will make it a little bit too confusing, so I'm just trying to keep it all streamlined here, okay? All right, so that's the 1/2 inch. The next is the 1/4 inch. So each time we're just splitting the section that we've made in half. So the 1/4 inch is the next longest line, okay? So every quarter. But that's, again, this also includes our blue and our green marks, our inch marks and our 1/2 inch. So every 1/4 inch is this space, okay? So we go from here to here. All right, so those are our 1/4 inch marks. After the 1/4 inch, we're getting really small here. It's the 1/8 inch, and we probably won't be using this one as much, okay? But it's nice to know that it exists. So the next shortest line is going to be halfway in between the green and the orange. So this one right here would be our 1/4 inch, or our 1/8 inch, 1/8. Okay, so this is so small we can barely even make those little jumps in between, okay? I hope this is helpful. So let's do an example one, okay? I'll get a different colored marker here. So with this, let's say I want to find 3 1/4 inches, okay? So we know that 3 is the biggest part, okay? So we go to 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we go to our 1/4 mark, okay, which is the orange. So then we just go boop right there. So this mark right here is 3 1/4, right? Let's try and do 1 3/4. Okay, so that's a little bit different. So if we start from here, we're going to go 1. Now, if our last one, we just went to the first orange mark because it was 1/4. Now we're going to go 3/4. So we want to go 1, 2 to the half mark because 2 quarters make a half, 3. So this one right here is going to be 1 3/4. Okay. If we're going to do 2.5 inches, we would count 1, 2, and then we go to the blue mark and a half. So this right here is 2.5. Okay. The more that you practice this and look at it, the easier it becomes. The ones that I really, if you don't understand the quarter and the 1/8 inch, at least understand where the inch marks are and where the 1/2 inch marks are, okay? And just think of it like a fraction. If you cut this space in half, then you're going to get that 1/2 inch, okay? And 2 halves make up 1 whole. Hopefully that is helpful. All right. So now we're going to, in the other video that I'm going to make, I'll show you all how to use your ruler to do a border around your paper, which is what we will mainly be using a ruler for.